You're watching SBA Today. With all the latest news, stories, and advice, here are your hosts, Paul Long and Tonya Mazurek.
Welcome to SBA Today for the week of January 6, 2025. As always, I am your host, Paul, and I am joined with my lovely co-host, Tonya. Tonya, how was your holiday?
It was really nice, Paul. Did a trip with my daughter and her boyfriend, and we went
Cool.
I know, it was on a train at the bottom of Royal Gorge. It was amazing. And one of the things that, I had fun with actually on my post, and what I thought about when I was there is we went to the top of the gorge first, and then we went to the bottom, and we were riding the train through the bottom looking up. And it just made me think about it for the new year and all that. Sometimes we have to start at the bottom, and there's always a bottom looking up. Well, always, right? But sometimes we're looking down. We're at the top and we're looking down, and we're on the top of the world and everything's going great. And sometimes we're at the bottom and we're looking up, and we've got something to climb. But hey, it takes both. You won't recognize being on top if you haven't actually been on the bottom before. So there you go.
That's true.
Anyway,
Cool. All righty. Well, what are we going to talk about today, Tonya?
Okay, the SBA never sleeps, obviously. I mean, we all know that. And did not have a shutdown. Increased lending limits, and the new SBLC licenses, which that ought to be interesting. And businesses out there are getting less money. So I don't know. Paul, why don't we dive in on that?
We had a lot of interesting stuff.
Yes.
I remember seeing emails. Don't worry, we won't have a shutdown. They haven't used the words shutdown. That right there should have been my clue that we were going to have to possibly have a shutdown.
Yeah.
So, it went down to the last minute and we were okay. I did notice E-Tran on Saturday was shut down because I was trying to go in and do some last minute things. But as always, everyone, I don't care how long you've been in the industry, when you hear there's a continuing resolution, get your freaking E-Trans in on deals that are going to be closing in the next couple of weeks. We did that, and we saved quite a few deals that we felt comfortable that were done on that. So just be very careful.
Because you never know, Paul. I mean, it's kind of like what they say, right? It's like always assume. But for me, it's like closings, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to close on the 15th. All right. Well, prepare perhaps that you aren't, right? Expect and hope that you are. Prepare that you aren't, because until you actually do, until you sign on that dotted line, you haven't closed. So anything
can happen.
All about the prep.
Anything, absolutely. I am very glad to hear that they did get into that continuing resolution bill.
Yes.
They did replenish the disaster fund. Yay. 21,000 people were waiting for those funds. And so that is definitely needed. And I don't know if you've ever looked at this, Tonya, but I get an RSS feed. If you know what that is, Google it. Or if you don't, Google it. And it shows me every day when there's been a disaster declaration for a state.
Oh, wow.
Every day, like right now I'm looking and there's one new one for the state of North Carolina. Like it's crazy how many disasters we really have. And so if you're not thinking about that, and how big that disaster program is and how important it is, challenge you to look a little bit deeper. It's pretty crazy.
Well, and then for some of you guys that don't really know, I'm going to give you just a couple that came from that. So it includes the funding for the SBA office, obviously, for Inspector General for audits and reviews of disaster loans. Yeah. Also provides the much needed relief for Americans struggling to recover from the natural disasters, as Paul just said. But if you haven't thought about this, right, it targets resources toward rural communities, particularly farmers and ranchers facing both a tough farm economy and the aftermath of multiple disasters. Now, have you guys been shopping lately? Just saying.
God, no, not at all.
Just saying.
We don't shop during the holidays.
Well, I mean, for those that don't recognize what this means, I mean, that's an easy analogy, really, for people to understand how disasters affect our small businesses. one of which is the ranchers and the farmers that are growing our food and our meats and everything else. So yeah, if
Yep.
you're paying more, part of it could be because of these disasters that's occurred. So anyway,
So glad to
good
have that
turn out there for
replenished.
having that. Absolutely. Yep.
And then Community Advantage SBLCs, they increased their limits to from 350,000 to 500,000, and I think that is a well done party. Should be. Yes, and I'm sure they love it too. The SBLCs. Yes. So that's a nice change on there.
I think it's like a 30. Isn't that like a 30% increase?
Oh, so I didn't do the math.
I think it's about a 30% increase, something like that. And okay, so for those who don't realize how much that is, like I'm 140 pounds. I'd go to 200 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Increase. Like if I increase from 350 to 500 or 140 to 200, I mean, come on.
I mean, that's guaranteed to give you another chin, right?
Or two.
You could look like me.
Maybe two. But yeah, no, I mean that's a good increase to help the communities, and in those communities, if you think about it, so what is it? It's support of the local communities, businesses, governments, indicating a need for expanding lending services is what they've done, or that's why they're doing it. With that, they also can apply, and I think that's what I was trying to say, they can apply for expanded lending in different locations. So territories that they haven't actually been lending in and they haven't been approved for because it wasn't in their original business plan, they can expand on that and apply to actually help other communities outside of that. So that's pretty cool.
I am thankful that they brought out the new 2025 fee calculator. I know that sounds so juvenile.
We've been talking about that for a minute.
How hard is it to update the freaking Excel? I don't know.
How long's it been? How long has it been?
I think it was August is when the fee was released for No, it was October. Because it came out in October. I mean, then it came out in the end of December. So it was about 3 months without a calculator. I mean, I know that's I know there was times when we never used to have Excel, but so anyways, that's out there. So make sure to download that. Absolutely. And of course, the most controversial is 4 new SBLC license granted. Let's see how that works. I'm sure they've learned some lessons through this. I hope.
Well, that's why you and I are sitting here going, but because there was an issue.
Correct, but I'm hopeful that, again, we all learn from our mistakes and we move forward. But so those will be out there. And so let's see what happens with that.
I'm an optimist. It's going to be great.
Good. And last but not least, the FDIC report came out that small business loans of less than 100,000 decreased by almost 9%. That's actually kind of a lot. The number of loans originally fell by 5.6%, and the Fed is saying that it's partially because of rising interest rates, and tightening lending standards. That one I read like, really? Interesting. More than half of small business loans originated were for businesses with revenues of 1 million or less. Makes sense. And these businesses received over 1/3 of the total dollars for small business loans. So the biggest thing on this that I just can't get my head personally around is the tightening up. Now, I know we are having an increase in, defaults or, past dues and that type stuff as a nation. I haven't yet, thank God. But are you tightening up, Tonya? Like what? I'm not seeing that personally. So I'm curious what your thoughts are.
At 100,000 or less?
Well, just tightening up in your SBA lending period.
I don't know that I would say that it's tightening up. We're looking closely because there were, defaults. And so anytime that there's defaults, everybody starts looking a little closer at, okay, what was the source of those defaults and where do we need to look?
Industries.
Exactly. So we are getting a little, I guess, looking a little closer at things that we were a little looser on prior, but maybe we were just a little bit too loose. I don't know. Um, anyway, so we're doing that. Now, we don't do a whole lot, at least my office in Colorado or outside of the Missouri area where we are based, right? We don't do a whole lot in the 100,000 or less realm.
Sure.
Oftentimes we send that to more the micro lenders and whatnot that quite honestly have much better experience to get those smaller ones done. So
Well, and I think that, again, there's a lot of vendors out there that are, really trying to make that small loan process easier. I've interviewed many of them over the last few months.
yeah.
But I think they're trying to figure out a way to make that easier. But man, I sure hope that there is an additional review on, 150,000 and under, you get an 85% guarantee. When was the last time that was increased?
Good
I mean,
point.
I'm not saying
Right.
put that up to 500,000. I mean, I'd take it and that'd be great. But I think it is time to take that 150 and move it up, I don't know, 200 something, to kind of keep up with that, because I think that is going to encourage lenders to do more because it protects us more.
Right.
That's my opinion.
Well,
I
because
mean, they've
think
done
about
really
it.
well on the rules.
And think about it. Typically the smaller loans at that 100,000 or less, the vast majority of the time they're for working capital. At least that's what I've seen when
Correct.
and so there's not always a whole lot of potentially collateral and or maybe the cash flow is lower or whatever. And it's the smaller, like it says, under a million,
Yep.
right? It's the
Yep.
smaller businesses. So the risk tends to go up, especially with working capital. I don't know about
Yep.
you, but I mean, working
Well,
capital.
working capital is just a credit card, right?
Exactly.
If credit cards are defaulting,
Yeah.
working capital loans are also defaulting.
Very good.
And so I think that also plays a part in the overall thing we're seeing in the world right now
Mhm.
of, more past dues and that type stuff. So
Yeah.
you're definitely taking a risk by doing a lot more working capital. But you're also helping those businesses get through it too. So it's, you still need to be a lender and find out, is this money actually going to help them, or is it just going to put them further into a hole? Right.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I gotta ask you a question now. I
Oh
know
God.
you had said you had done pretty well at the end of the year. You were pretty darn busy.
Oh God.
Um, how was that for you?
I So, and again, people, for what you don't know, I'm a 3-state operation. I'm not a national operation. We got a great, strong team. We had 7 loans closing at the end of the year. That's a lot for, a shop like that. We got through it. Every single one of them got done. I don't think I had much of a holiday.
Oh, no.
Which is kind of, and it's kind of like, okay, I'm coming back for a new year. Well, I didn't have a break.
Right.
But it is what it is. And that's, we got the capital out there to those who needed it. And that's what's important. And so that's it. It was busy, but
Yeah.
we're good. We're moving on.
Well, I'm proud of my team. My team was actually very busy there at the end of the year. I can say it was one of my less busy years. So, I might need to
Oh, I'm
look
so
at that.
jealous. I'm so
Well,
jealous.
Well, yes and no, Paul. Yes
Right.
and no, because
Yeah.
I probably need to look at that. Anyway, but I'm very proud of them. They all they were busy at the end of the year, so that was actually really nice too. Now, and really quick, what do you have set coming up this year? It is 2025. It is the new year. It is the new you. It is the new blah, whatever we want to say, right? What do you
Mhm.
have? What's out there for you?
Oh boy. Yeah,
Secret?
everyone. She did not warn me on this one. So I would
Oh,
say,
wait. That's because he never warns me on stuff.
oh, that's true. Good point.
He
That's half the
he
fun.
loves to not warn me. I had no idea, whatever. It's like, oh, it's fine. Okay.
Professionally, I want to do more smaller loans
Okay.
as an organization, and that's a focus for me personally in 2025. Um, and then, personally, I don't make New Year's resolutions.
Yeah,
In my opinion, New Year's resolutions are meant to last for about 2 weeks, and then that's
I
it.
agree.
So uh,
100%.
I haven't went to the gym in 7 months, and it looks like it. And I will probably continue that trend for another 6. That is my New Year's. I don't know. I don't know. My wife will make me get on the treadmill or something. I don't know.
All right, so I'll ask you this one, but I'll ask it. So think of it for a second. Think of a word that would be the word that you would use for the entire next year. Somebody asked me that, and I loved it. Apparently, with my my pink fuzzy jacket, I think I'm planning to be a star or something. Hey, I was cold this morning, y'all. But anyway, no, my word that I had picked was opportunity. And the way I see that is opportunity across the board. So that'd be opportunity in business. That'd be opportunity with some things I've got planned on the side. Opportunity in my personal life with my family, my children. So I just love the word opportunity because I think it opens up me being open of seeing what's coming in and seeing what's available versus being closed to it because I don't have the mindset of opportunity being there. So anyway, that's my word. So how about you, Paul?
Well, I want to, since you said it's opportunity, I think this is your opportunity to go on a date with that guy that I met at Nagel.
Again, what is
opportunity?
Okay, so now he did not tell me that.
Yeah. Hey, if you can't have fun.
Ray and Madison are gonna be behind the scenes going, what in the heck is wrong with these two this morning? Yeah. It's because Paul yawned right before we started.
I did.
Yawned right before we started. And then I'm like, seriously? And I couldn't get my yawn out. So I've waited this whole time with this yawn down deep.
We have a lot of fun right before this starts.
All right.
One thing I will say is I do believe in the word a year. I really do believe in that. And I will say my personal one is health this year and kind of self-help, kind of just taking care of myself. And then professionally, I do pins for all of my team members, and it says SBA 2025 communication. So that is our internal is to really do more in communication. And so that's what I do for here.
I like it. Well, you could use those words on both sides there, Paul, because I'm a firm believer that our personal bleeds into our business and our business bleeds into our personal. So.
And my wife would agree with you that communication would probably be a good personal goal as well.
Tell her she's welcome.
That's right. Let's wrap it up.
All right. Well, guys, we obviously loved having you guys here today. And we are on all streaming platforms out there. So if you want to see us live, go to LinkedIn and or YouTube. Otherwise, any of the streaming platforms where you get your podcasts, we'll be there. Also, our family of podcasts, SBA or Art of SBA Lending and the BDO Show. Go check them out. I'm sure they would love to have you there as well. And Paul, anything else other than happy 2025? And we look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Absolutely. Make your comments down below if you got some topics, but we will continue to bring you the news each week as it goes.
And share. If you guys got something out of this, share it with your contacts or your list or your network. We'd love to spread the love.
That's true. Thanks. See ya.
Yeah.